Caucus goers in Iowa, they're going to decide who they want to be the Democratic nominee.
All right, it is prediction time, at least for our panel. We're going to do our predictions a little bit later, but we are back with Michael Starr-Hopkins, Democratic strategist, and also Emily Jashinsky, culture editor at The Federalist. All right, so we talked a little bit about where the polls stand. I think most people see Sanders surging coming into tonight. Both of you think that he has a good lock on potentially winning tonight. Who do you think has the most at stake on the line tonight? For whom, like, if they don't do well, this is basically it for their campaign. What do you think, Michael?
I would have to say I think Elizabeth Warren. I think if she doesn't do well tonight, then her fundraising's going to dry up. That was kind of the worry a year ago this time, and I think it's going to be the big worry now. I think the second person has got to be Mayor Pete, because he's put so much work, so much time into Iowa. If he doesn't do well in Iowa, then you're headed to New Hampshire, and then with Nevada and South Carolina, 2 states he doesn't seem to be polling exactly strongly in.
What do you think, Emily?
I was going to say Pete Buttigieg for that reason. First of all, he's not polling great in New Hampshire, and he's polling abysmal in South Carolina.
Yes.
And so if he doesn't come out of Iowa with momentum, and that could be an interesting thing, right? Because they're releasing raw vote total results for the first time in the Iowa caucuses tonight. So if we have a situation where Mayor Pete wins the popular vote, he could maybe still emerge from Iowa with some momentum.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if he loses Iowa, it's just that's a place that he should be able to make his case.
Even his team, though, doesn't seem to think that he's going to win the popular vote.
Yeah.
Now, I think they believe they can win essentially like the Electoral College in Iowa because he has support spread across the state. But, we had a surrogate of his on earlier who was like, she didn't think it would be fair to tout the results of which, if they were going to win the raw vote results, they would be all about touting the first alignment results. I would put out there that Biden has the most on the line because he's the one, first of all, talk about fundraising. He's been pretty abysmal there, basically running out of money. He really needs that fundraising bump. He needs to do at least well. I don't think he has to win, but I think he has to at least get second. If he starts coming in third, fourth, that whole electability case begins to look very fragile. And with Bloomberg waiting in the wings,
what I was just going to say.
You've got a good alternative out there for people who are looking for a sort of strong centrist candidate who definitely will have the money to go the distance.
Good, yeah, and I think Bloomberg has already started to chip away at Biden. I think people know he's sitting there for Super Tuesday, kind of waiting to do well in California and Texas and some of those bigger states in Florida. And those are states that Biden would normally do really well in. We talked about off air the fact that California's absentee ballots go out today.
Yes.
Yeah.
So should Sanders do really well today, that's something that Californians will be looking at. Exactly. Yeah. And he could increase his rate in California even more so, which would be big for Super Tuesday.
I think that's what it is, Emily. I don't think Biden has to win, so he's not a must-win. I agree with you. Warren and Pete, if they can't win here, they ain't going to win anywhere.
Yeah.
No.
But on Biden, if he doesn't come in second, I think it's a big problem. I outlined this in my monologue. He's got $9 million in the bank. That's less than everybody else. He needs to at least have number two to say, no, I'm viable, right? Keep that in New Hampshire. Keep that in Nevada. Hopefully win in South Carolina. But he's just getting his knees cut away from him by Tom Steyer and Michael Bloomberg. And if he comes in fourth, I think he's done.
If he comes in fourth, it's going to be so hard for him to recover from. At the same time, it depends on what happens with Mayor Pete and Elizabeth Warren, because if you get 2 big dropouts, they won't drop out before New Hampshire, but if you get 2 big dropouts, Biden could hang around hoping to collect some votes and then head into South Carolina and Nevada and Super Tuesday with that path going forward, which
is like a prisoner's dilemma, though. Nobody wants to drop out. And
well, especially, look, if Bernie does win tonight, which we think may happen, but nobody, of course, knows.
High chance.
Right,
yeah.
High chance that he is able to put together those numbers. Then you've got a jockeying for who's going to be the alternative, right? So I think there will be 2 tickets out of Iowa, right? Whoever wins, which looks good for Sanders, and whoever comes in second, because you also know the media will spin this narrative. If Warren surprises and comes in second, it's going to be big Warren momentum. If Klobuchar jumps up even to a surprise third, then it's going to be big
Comeback
momentum.
kid.
Right, but
that's the thing about Klobuchar, though. If you think about it, where is she really going to go in this? Because she's not going to win Iowa, but what does she actually consider a win? And then what's her path after that? Because this is kind of her Midwest state. This is where she should do well in. And if she doesn't perform very well here, how's she going to do well in New Hampshire?
They all still think they're going to be the moderate, safe choice alternative to Bernie, especially if Biden doesn't do well tonight.
That I think the biggest story out of tonight, because I'm assuming that Bernie Sanders is going to win this, or at least come in a very, very close second. The biggest story to come out tonight is the Democratic establishment's freak out.
Correct.
That is bound to start tomorrow morning. It's actually going to start
last
tonight.
week.
It started last week, but it'll be in full force, and that's going to mean something. We don't know what that's going to look like for Joe Biden, for Pete Buttigieg, for Michael Bloomberg, but that's going to be the big thing.
Do you think Obama will actually come out and say something?
What do you think?
I don't.
No, I don't.
I don't really think so either.
He's weak.
What does he
doesn't
like? What does he gain from?
Well, and he doesn't like to. I mean, he doesn't like to get his hands dirty in this kind of politics. If he was going to wade in, he should have done it already.
Like I said, he can't piss off young people because he needs them to buy the books and watch his Netflix series and go to his wife's stadium tours. But Emily, I also wanted to ask you. I mean, I've been comparing this again, like to Trump, and I remember the desperation to cast Marco Mentum out of Iowa.
Yeah.
And all of us were like, oh, I mean, but it's like, no, that was BS. Marco got second, and then he fell flat on his face. And that's what's going to happen.
Well,
right?
it can also be like a vicious cycle. When the party establishment starts to back someone really hard, it pushes people in the other direction. It pushes people to Trump. It pushes people to Sanders.
Right.
And so if you do have Sanders and not Warren, if Sanders emerges from Iowa as the strong progressive choice, that's where the people who are anti-establishment in the Democratic Party are going to go. And that flow will only increase once it seems like the party is trying to prop up Joe Biden.
All right, you guys want to lay your cards on the table here?
Yeah.
Top four. What do you think, Michael?
Yeah.
Give us the order.
So it's Sanders, Buttigieg, Biden, Klobuchar.
Ooh,
Warren in fifth. Ouch.
All right, what do you think?
I'm going to go more conventional. I'm going to say Sanders, Biden, Buttigieg, Warren.
All right.
All right. Interesting. We're going to tell you our picks in just a minute. And also remember, watch us tonight. We're doing live coverage. It's going to be amazing.
9 p.m. Eastern to 11 p.m. We're going to have all our guests, favorites, surrogates, everybody there. It's going to be amazing.
Yep. And tomorrow, of course, we will cover all the results out of Iowa. So join us tonight. Join us tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. See you guys soon.
See you guys later.